How's it going, everyone? My name is Connor. If you're watching this video, that means you are going to film school next year, or maybe you already are in film school. For some background, I went to the School of Visual Arts in New York City from the years of 2014 to 2018, and my major was cinematography. So in this video, I'm going to kind of touch upon a few different topics of what you can maybe expect, what my experiences were, and my advice of going through 4 years of film school. So let's talk about my experience real quick. So I went to, like I said, the School of Visual Arts, or SVA, in 2014. And when you go to film school, like most film schools at least, you kind of learn a little bit of everything in your first year. You're going to get a chance to learn how to write a script. Maybe you already know how to do that, maybe you don't, but this is a really good chance to kind of flex those muscles if you do. And if you don't, then you can really get an idea of how to properly write a script or a scene so that you can better communicate that to your actors, or you can take your ideas and put them to paper that can then translate to being shot. So in my first year, like I said, I was just learning a little bit of everything, as every other student was, and I already knew going into film school that I wanted to major in cinematography. I've always enjoyed shooting things. I've always enjoyed being behind the camera and just making content, having sort of that control of it, visually at least. And so, but that didn't keep me from learning other things while I was in my freshman year. I wanted to learn how to light better. I wanted to learn how to work with actors better. And the first thing I noticed with working with actors, that it was really intimidating, especially when the actors are much older than me. At the time, I was 18 and I'm directing 40-year-olds. And I was like, this is weird, because I started thinking what they're perceiving of, like, okay, this student is very obvious freshman student is directing me for a scene for the first time. And they probably thought, oh, this is like, what am I doing here? What I'll say is, don't let yourself get discouraged that way. Don't talk yourself out of trying these things, and just remind yourself that everybody is there for the same reason. And even people who are more professional and maybe are in there to teach the students, whether they're actors or teachers or guest speakers, they all obviously know that you're a student. So don't think that you're any less of anyone else just because you have less experience. You just haven't had enough time on set. That's all. So another thing for me, when I was a freshman, I lived in the dorms. I know a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do so, but in my case, I lived in the dorms freshman year. I thought it'd be good for me to meet other students that way and just kind of be on call, almost in a sense of like, okay, if there's a project coming up, I can take it because I live local and I can just walk back to my apartment or take the subway in New York City. So going off of that, I'm going to say any opportunity you get to take a film project, whether you're shooting it, maybe editing, lighting, or doing grip work on it, I would say just take it. Sometimes people might not want to take free work. There are some people like that, especially when they're freshmen. They only want to take paid work. I think it's a little silly. I think you should take every opportunity you can to, one, meet as many other students as you can. And then by doing that, you're going to build your own sort of crew. So when you shoot your own project, you're going to have so many people at your disposal that, you know, at that point, you would have already built up such a great reputation. They'll want to help you just as much as you've helped them in the past. So take as many projects as you can, and just, well, first off, you're going to be learning way more hands-on doing that than more than likely from what you're learning in class. So remember to do that. As much as being in college is fun and all that, you do want to take advantage of your resources. So work on other people's projects, use the equipment in the film production office, or whatever you call it. Some people call it the cage. That's where, in case you don't know, you can rent out anything from lighting to grip gear to cameras to pretty much anything you can think of, including sound too, to get your projects done. When you're in school, utilize pretty much every weekend you have. You should be making something at least every weekend, unless you're visiting back home and you're kind of taking a break from school. If you're there for film school, you should be trying to work on something every weekend, at least one day. And also for fun, keep track of every project you worked on, because at one point, my first 2 years into college, I was keeping track just to kind of see like how many projects I can work on. And by my sophomore year, sometime during my sophomore year, I worked on over 100 projects, which is really a lot. It sounds like a lot. And I don't know, I just kind of stopped keeping track after that. But it's fun to kind of see your progress and how many things you've worked on and whatnot. Another thing I'll say is maybe carry a notebook with you. It's not a bad idea to draw the lighting diagrams of what another fellow student is doing, or maybe you're in a guest lecture or your teacher in production class is setting up the lighting for a scene, and maybe you really like how it looks. Trust me, just taking a photo on your phone to get an idea of what it looks like is okay, but more times than not, you're going to lose that photo, or it's just going to end up with an endless library of all these other photos on your phone that most of us don't even look at anymore. But if you want to, take a photo of the setup, and then you could draw the diagram in your notebook later, and then you can just reference, okay, maybe I'm doing some still photography, maybe I'm working with beauty lighting, maybe I'm shooting a dramatic scene, and like you can just kind of organize your own notebook so that you can just have a quick reference guide of, okay, this is where this light was to get this effect. This is what modifier was on this light to give this look. So that's another piece of advice I would give, is to draw the lighting diagrams that you see on set that you really like. Okay, camera cut there. I was just saying, I don't want any of my opinions to sway whether you think film school is worth it or not, or even college for that matter. I'm simply just talking about my experiences and what I think worked for me. But if I were to look back and say, is film school worth it? It is and it's not. If you're mentally prepared and able to pay your way through the student loans like I am, and like most Americans are, then go for it, because you're going to meet a lot of really cool people, and people that will help you get freelance gigs, and people that you can build up your film crews with. And who knows, maybe you make an award-winning film while you're in school. Probably not, but there has been moments where that has happened. I've worked with people who I met in film school as other students that I'm still like great friends with now, and we've worked on many projects ever since. A mix of paid gigs for clients, and then a equal mix of just passion projects for film festivals. And that is one thing I will say about being a cinematographer major, is that you will get a lot of work, and I got a lot of work, because cinematographers or director of photography are so important that there's usually at least one, if not two, per shoot. Meaning the camera ops, and then you always have one director of photography working with a director. So that's always a guaranteed gig that you can expect to fill in. Some majors I would not recommend doing if you want to make money, and I'm just being purely honest from my experience, is directing. You're not going to find a lot of work directing because everyone wants to be a director, which I get it. Everyone has had that dream at one point. But because of that over saturation, it's really hard to stand out. Equally, it's hard to get paid work as a director, because usually the directors are the ones paying for the gigs at first. But if you can find an executive producer that can back up your project, or you get GoFundMe or crowdsource funding, then that's a different story. But starting out, I'm just saying, usually the director is paying for their own projects, and then they hire, whether for free or for paid, other crew members. I would say, if you do want to make money, crew position wise, during or after film school, I do recommend being a cinematographer. I also highly recommend being a sound operator, because everybody needs a good sound, and it is slept on quite a bit. At least it was when I was in school. And then editors, because everyone needs an editor. Even it's for social media afterwards, like my current job working for social media, editors are so important that we're always looking to outsource content. That's going to be cinematographer, sound, and editor. Really good picks if you want to make money in the position of filmmaking. And then, if you want to be in lighting or grip, you can also find work as well. I just don't know as much of what you can make in that unless you join some kind of union. And then you can do pretty good if you want to work on TV shows and stuff like that. But I went to film school, man, it's going to be, I went to film school almost 10 years ago. Overall, I enjoyed my time there, and I took advantage of my resources while I was there. I was an RA for 2 years. I had 2 school jobs, all while trying to work on projects and shooting my thesis films and all that. So I would say keep an open mind when it comes to working on projects and the people that you meet, because you never know who can get you paid gig later. Location is important. You don't have to stay in the dorms if you don't want to, or if you can't afford it when you're in college or film school more so. But I would say really try and take advantage of your time there and work with as many people as you can, because end of the day, those are the people that are going to be helping you get gigs. And then when you want to shoot your own project, those are the exact same people who are going to be working in your crew. If you got this far and you are going to film school this coming fall, good luck. You're going to do great, I'm sure. And if you have any questions, you can always message me. And same with posting a comment here on this video. Hopefully I'll try and make some more videos like this, kind of short, sweet, and just give my general advice that I think might be useful for a new time college student. So until the next time, guys, hope you have a good one and have a great day.